Hi. So the first intellectual property I'd like to talk about is copyright. It's my favorite of the rights. Why? Because it's automatic. You don't have to do any formal registration. Well, in the US, there is a formal registration, but even there in the US, you don't really have to have copyright protection. It's an automatic right. The right comes into place, the copyright comes into existence the moment the work is recorded in some form. So if it's a script you're writing, as you're writing it, even if it's handwritten, when you're taking a photograph, the moment the photograph's taken, as you're doing art, as you're creating the art, whether it's painting it, drawing it, the moment something is recorded, at that point, copyright comes into existence, which is quite a beautiful thing, really. And it's pretty much worldwide, thanks to the Berne Convention, pretty much across the world, the copyright happens in the same way. Copyright attaches to certain kinds of works, so music, sound recordings, videos, films, software, art, as we said, sculptures, photographs, and that's it would be your right to it unless you've created it during the course of your employment, and then it would be owned by the employer. But check out your employment contract on that. If you're an employer, have you got that in? You don't need to have it in because the law is set that an employee who creates works or copyright works, it would be owned by the employer in there. The rights last in copyright for the length of the person who's alive who's created it. So, for example, a Lennon and McCartney piece of work, the copyright in the music of Lennon and McCartney is still existing because Paul McCartney's still alive, thankfully, and it will last for the existence of the person, and then 70 years after that. With something like a sound recording or a video film, then it's 70 years from the moment it's created or first released in there. So what are the rights that you have as a copyright owner? Well, you have the right to make copies of it. You have the right to adapt it, change it, alter it. You have the right to sell it on to somebody else. It is a property. You also have the right to license it. And I want to go into licenses at some point and tell you the differences between an exclusive license, non-exclusive license, and a sole license. It's quite important when you start licensing out, giving permission to other people to use the work that you've created. You can rent copies of the work, and you can broadcast the work or put it out on the internet. They're your rights. If people do that without, then they're infringing your intellectual property. They're infringing your copyright in there. We can go into more details of how it applies copyright.